Sorry for the long intro. Facebook was giving me problems. Welcome, everybody, to the Straub Bro Sports Show here on the Straub Bro Sports Show YouTube page and the Ken Straub Facebook page. I like to just sprinkle that in there. It sounds fun. Welcome into another show. Big Bro Ken rocking with Little Bro as always. Little Bro, how we doing?
I don't think I've ever been happier for it to be 20 degrees outside. I thought yesterday was supposed to be better. It was worse. And so being able to walk out my door and not absolutely feel like I'm going to be frozen solid with the wind as well felt really nice. It felt really, really good.
Man, you are not lying. What's going on, Mama? Mama was not happy with me for not acknowledging her comment last week. So we'll make sure we put you right out there out front, Mama. We love you. You already know rocking with your favorite guys. Whew. What a week. Good to be done with Tuesday's show as we get in here to Thursday. Rocking with us on the rocking with us on this Straub Bro Sports Show YouTube page. Hit that QR code. It'll take you to the Straub Bro Sports Show YouTube page. Your one-stop shop for everything Straub Bro Sports Show. You can also follow us on X at Straub Bro Sports Show, on TikTok at the SBSS, on Instagram at Straub Bro Sports Show, and the Spotify page, Straub Bro Sports Show. I got some big news, man. I got some big news. You ready for this?
Let me hear it.
Okay. It's going to come along in here when we get to our Rapids news. Speaking of Rapids news, I got an updated schedule. We had to make a game switch as the Straub Bro Sports Show is the official broadcast team of the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids. What we did is we needed to just swap out that first preseason game. So we had to make a swap. Shout out to the Warlocks for coming through. They'll be coming home or coming into our home at InfoCision Stadium, Akron University's home field. So we appreciate them. Make sure if you are not right now, follow the Falls Rapids on Facebook. Give them a like. And on Instagram, give them a follow, Official Rapids. And make sure you get your Rapids gear at fallsrapids.myshopify.com. Daniel is late and he's making me mad because he's not going to hear the news that he already broke, but I'm going to get to break it on our show for our viewers on our podcast. Boom. The Straub Bro Sports Show has gone international. A big shout out. We are thrilled to partner with Sports Tank Gridiron, the leading platform for American football in the UK and Ireland. So what does that mean? All 12 of the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids games are going to be streamed overseas through their page on Facebook. You can follow them at Sport Tank Gridiron. But what they're going to do is they're going to take our beautiful YouTube broadcast and they are going to we're going to ship it over there. Not literally ship it. We're just going to share it over there. And they are going to broadcast to our new international home for the Falls Rapids and the Straub Bro Sports Show. So big thing for us. We got some Irish heritage in us. So to be able to have our voices heard back home, in a sense, is beautiful. We also are the biggest footy boys, footballer, So to also be broadcasting in England is amazing. It is funny to me that the first thing we ever broadcast in England is a football game and not a football game. But that's neither here nor there. But a big shout out to them. Amazing thing for us. I have to give the biggest shout out in the world to Daniel. Daniel DeMann, the owner of the Falls Rapids, and my boy. Me and him have been grinding behind the scenes, but then he continues to grind 1,000 more hours himself behind the scenes. So a big shout out to him for setting this up and putting the Straub Bro Sports Show on the international platform. We're global, baby. All right. We're not just East Coast, West Coast. We're global. And the Falls Rapids are as well. Speaking of the Falls Rapids, check out those sick new logos I put up there.
Yeah.
For Ali. Shout out to Anna. She slid those to me. But speaking of the Falls Rapids, check out the interviews with the Falls Rapids. Check out everything that we have done so far. We dropped a new one yesterday. Shout out to Kavan. Shout out to Big Von. We gave some love to the big guys, to the big men holding down the trenches. That one's doing good. A big shout out to that. He's also a sponsored athlete by the Cuyahoga Falls East of Chicago Pizza. They gave us some love, shared that, and thank you, Mom. We appreciate that. They gave the interview some love. They gave us some love as well. Shout out to them. I'll be hitting y'all up tomorrow for some pizza. We'll be doing some business tomorrow, and I'm gonna go pick it up. So maybe we can do like a little photo or something. Maybe we can make some Straub Bro Sports Show things happen with pizza. Listen, you don't gotta tell me twice. You know how we get down here. But check out those interviews for the Falls Rapids. Like I said, we dropped one yesterday, and listen, it's getting competitive. Okay, because Mark is still my man. Mark is keeping track of the views, still holding down for his record right now. I actually was looking last night because I let Vaughn know where we were at, but I was taking a peek. I don't have official numbers, but I don't need to because Mark's keeping track for me. But make sure you check his out. Make sure you check out everybody so far. Like I said, ownership, coaching staff, players, all of the above. And February 7th, Rapids Media Day. So more interviews coming. We'll be doing some new ones, and we'll be reconvening with some people that we've already spoken to. Shout out to my guy Austin, Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you follow them at Create Your Own Wave 2021 and get my man's apparel at cyowapparel.myshopify.com. And Schmoopy Sweets and Treats. Make sure you get on Facebook, follow Schmoopy's Sweets and Treats for all your deals and your baked goods. You got to follow them on Facebook. That's where you slide into the DMs, and that's where you put your order in for Valentine's Day. Get your cookies, get your cheesecakes, get your cupcakes, or get ghosted, or get left on read. Don't get left on read. Who wants to get left on read? Nobody. Exactly. Nobody. So get that order in ASAP so you have your Valentine's Day all set. But let's see, maybe you want to put an order in for further on down the line. That's fine. We got you covered. Breads, got you. Bagels, check. Croissants, check. I'm going to say it like that every week. Cheesecakes, check. Donuts, muffins, Danish, cannoli. Game over. Schmoopy Sweets and Treats, all of your baked goods. Get your orders in, free delivery in the local area. That's our Stowe, our Falls, and even surrounding area, Macedonia, all that stuff. So make sure you get your order in. And thanks for everybody who rocks with us every week. I'm going to update the graphic next week to have our friends over in the UK and Ireland represented in the square as well. All right, bro. That's enough of this stuff. Let's get rocking into the news. And unfortunately, we have to start on a somber note. We lost a Cleveland media legend and a Fox 8 legend, Big Chuck of Big Chuck and Little John fame, unfortunately passed away at the age of 90 years old. Thoughts? I mean, I know for a younger audience, sorry, I was making sure that I had the age right. It was 90. For a younger audience, you may not know who that is, but Big Chuck and Little John was a staple in Cleveland and on Fox 8. I know you even had tuned in and watched a couple of those movies, but I tapped in with our father because I asked, would give me a sense here. And he said like obviously we know local personality, local celebrity, but brought some fun in to the local news and to the local channels that was not prevalent back in the day because you kids don't know what it used to be like when there only used to be a couple channels. So yeah, an unfortunate loss for the Cleveland community.
No, I agree. I think that obviously I haven't really, I didn't stay up and watch, every week and all that to kind of get my fill. But obviously when I grew up, Big Chuck and Little John was so prevalent here, still big personalities, and everyone obviously loved them. And, watching my fair share, they were very good. I remember some skits back in the day. I think they were pretty funny. But hey, listen, 90, it's a hell of a life. That's, living life to the fullest. And
I hope I can get there.
Right, exactly. So I'm sure, when it was time, he was ready. And thoughts and, prayers to all the family and all the friends, having to go through this time.
Absolutely. A tough one there. But a life lived for sure. All right. We've got some other news. We've got some happier news. Let's turn it around. Bro, you've got some hot stove baseball news as the 2025 Hall of Fame class was announced.
Yes, and I do want to kind of throw this out there.
Yeah.
Listen, that's how it's so great. And so yes, the MLB 2025 Hall of Fame class was announced as we have 3 players get above the 75% mark and get into the Hall of Fame. We have Ichiro Suzuki with his first year on the ballot getting 393 votes, which is all except for one, which we'll get into. CC Sabathia with 342 votes on his first ballot. And in his 10th year on the ballot, Billy Wagner with 325 votes. All 3 players get in. Just quick, some notable ones that did not get in, just kind of missed the cut. Carlos Beltran with 277 and 70% of the vote. Andrew Jones with 66% of the vote. And then just some kind of Cleveland guys, Manny Ramirez with 135 votes and Omar Vizquel with 70 votes. Now, we have gone in length over the Omar Vizquel one, and we are not going to do that again today. Ken?
No, I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed? Because I was about to.
Because we do this every year.
I've got the Andrew Jones. And listen, I appreciate Daniel letting us know he got to call grandma and then he'll be back in. We appreciate you, big dog.
Call grandma. Call grandma.
We need our shares, bro. I've got the Andrew Jones and the Omar Vizquel rant. It's just locked. It's just right there, ready to go at all times.
I'll give you the Carlos or the Andrew Jones one. I'll even give you the Manny Ramirez or Alex Rodriguez one. Listen, we've heard Omar Vizquel talk over and over again.
Guys are getting in.
Right. No, I get it. But here, let's go on a more positive note. Let's talk about the winners first, because I think this is that's the better way to start out at.
Okay, and I'm still gonna throw a fit. Ichiro Suzuki, to the person who did not vote for him because of this old time standard. Do you want me to back off?
No. Go on. But I will say he handled it in an amazing way.
I didn't hear, but that's okay. To whatever voter it was who stands by this thing that because Babe Ruth didn't get in unanimously, no one can get in unanimously. You are the embodiment of why I was driven to do this podcast, because I want to rid people like you out of sports, because you don't belong in sports and you don't deserve to have Hall of Fame votes. If Ichiro Suzuki is a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer, and that's that. Shout out to him. That's no question. Ichiro's the, other than a prime Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro's the best baseball player I've ever seen in my life. And I got to personally watch the beautiful arm from behind home plate as he absolutely threw out Travis Hafner on a rope. Hafner, for some reason, thought he could have it because it was that far away. It got hit that deep. And it ricocheted, and he just picked this thing up from center field and just watched the ball come in. It was just like, oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to keep playing soccer because I can't do this. But yeah, without a doubt, first ballot. CC Sabathia. Well, Hall of Famer. Oh, go ahead.
I do want to say Ichiro handled it in the best of ways. When asked about it, what would you say, or what do you say about the one voter that didn't vote you in? Oh, he says, I just want to have dinner with the guy. I want to know what his thoughts are. I want to pick his brain, and that's probably the nicest way and the most Ichiro way of saying, how the hell did you not vote me in?
I want to have dinner, and this guy might never return from that dinner. Yeah. Moving on. Shout out to Ichiro. I'm not surprised that's how he handled it. Number one. So CC Sabathia spent some time in Cleveland. Where he, made a large impression of his Hall of Fame career. I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm just in a bad mood today. Yep, here it is. As a Yankee, and all of these and I've heard it from a lot of people, guys. He's going in with the team he won a championship with, and it wasn't like he just pitched for the Yankees for a year, won a ring, and bounced. It's not Gary Payton going in as a Miami Heat member. Okay, like he spent some time in New York. I understand a large chunk of the career, and I don't know the year split, but I know a big chunk of the year was the career was in Cleveland. But the man put a large enough chunk in with the team that he won a championship with that I got no beef here. It's gonna say well, will it say Guardians or will it say
I think it'll
Indians?
say Indians.
Okay. Well, it'll say Cleveland whatever on the plaque.
No, so I had some thoughts on Tuesday, and I think it was just a gut reaction because if you look at it, he spent about the same amount of time with us as he did the Yankees. He had the same amount of All-Star appearances, but he won a chip there, and so it's a gut reaction of a player getting able, not even just for like success, just choosing between us and the Yankees and them picking the Yankees again. I think it's just a gut reaction as a Cleveland fan, but I also think we have gotten over him going to the Yankees and him leaving us,
And now you want all his love.
and now we want all of the love. And he's still like, but no, these are great. And you're like, no. We forgave you for going to the Yankees. Stay with us. But I completely understand him going in as a Yankee because
you forgave him for cheating, but now you're mad that he's still getting married to the other woman. Okay, like
yes,
no,
absolutely.
And that's not how this works. I'm in here. I want to fight and I want to argue. I have an argument to go.
I disagree with that comment.
His best year was not in Cleveland. And his best year was not in New York. His best year was his year in Milwaukee. When the dude came out and led Milwaukee through that playoff run, basically pitching every other day. That is the best CC Sabathia I've ever seen in my life.
I will say, but half of it was with us.
I know.
And so, but I'm saying the 2 years after, what he went 19-8 and 21-7 with the Yankees, like disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And then 3 All-Star appearances in a row. Those are his best years.
If he doesn't win a chip with the Yankees and he rides and wins it somewhere else, he's going in as a Guardian or as a
for sure.
But and then lastly, Billy Wagner, closer, deserving.
Absolutely.
I know that name doesn't roll off the tip of the tongue to a lot of people. But yeah, a dominant closer in his time, and well deserved. All right, now let's start with Andrew Jones. I'm joking.
If you want to go into it, I guess I'll allow it, but I feel like we're gonna get 30 minutes in and we're not gonna move off of baseball.
I don't understand. Andrew Jones was the best defensive best defensive center fielder for 10 years. I've gone through his WAR and how great it was and just how ridiculous it is. And I'll die on this hill. Omar Vizquel is the best, second best. I think he's the best defensive shortstop of all time. That alone puts him in the Hall of Fame. We can move on. Excuse me.
Okay.
All right. Before we get to the Cavaliers, we missed on Tuesday because we had a lot to talk about and review. We missed our awards. So
yes.
It's time for your Straub Bruh of the week. And as always, I start. And I only have one of each this week.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm following my own rules. Okay. So first.
And so were Dwayne Wade's, and so is Derrick Rose.
Oh, wow. That's a good Shaq's best years were in Cleveland. Man, those teams were so bad. Don't do this to me.
So bad.
All right. Your Straub Bruh of the week. Atlanta's own big boy. One half of the legendary group Outkast. A personal all-time favorite of mine. Okay. Die hard Atlanta to his core. The Braves, the Falcons, the Hawks, the Georgia Bulldogs, Atlanta HBCUs, Atlanta United. That's the MLS team, right? It wasn't. I went back and forth. I didn't want to Google it. I just went off the top of the dome. Okay, all of the above. Well, this past weekend, he decided to perform at the halftime of the Chiefs and Houston game. Now, I have no beef here. Get your bags, get your money, right? However, my man came out to perform, decked out from head to toe in Kansas City Chiefs gear. Big boy, get your bag, but don't ditch your city like that, and don't ditch your teams. No one would have cared if you came out in just neutral Atlanta colors and not logos, okay? But you can't. No, I got no time for that. All right, not on the Straub Bro Sports Show. I love you, Outkast. I love you, big boy. But Straub Bruh of the week for not representing your hometown on the road.
Or just representing somebody else's city. Like,
yeah, I can't. No, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Cut me the check. I'll do it.
that's we say that we didn't get what kind of money he's getting. So listen, if they tell me you need to go out and tell me Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback ever and you can never tell me wrong and they cut me that check, I'd have to think about it.
Straub will wear the Arsenal jersey. I will wear the Liverpool jersey. All right.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Cut the check. All right, your turn.
Yes. So Ken, you might not like this one, so we might have a bit of a disagreement here, but my Straub Bruh of the week is UConn coach Dan Hurley. Now, listen, this was a close game Tuesday night. UConn won 80-78 over Butler in overtime, but it is not the score that we are talking about. It is a moment where Dan Hurley was complaining about a call, which is common in basketball and common with him. Yes. These past couple, this season. And as a referee was walking away, he was quoted as saying, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in the effing sport."
Ooh.
Now, listen.
Wow.
I like that mentality. I get it. And listen, every coach at one point you can see is screaming at a head coach. I get it. But it's also his comments after that bothered me as well. At the end of the interview, he blamed it. He said, okay, I put it on myself. I'm not the victim. But he went on and on about how the cameras are always on him. They should put the cameras on other coaches more. They should show other coaches losing their minds. Yada, yada, yada. And I feel like this is a coach that wants the spotlight, but then when he gets put on these kind of moments, he tries to say, well, no, I don't want this big a spotlight. You do, with your comments and the way you behave on the court and the way you show how good your team is by promoting them the way that you do. You want the spotlight. And so if you are going to act a certain way and people are going to talk to you about it, I don't want you backing down from the spotlight when you repeatedly want the spotlight and act like you want the spotlight. And that's why he's my Straub Bro of the week.
So I'm not normally, actually, I don't think very often at all, am I legitimately shocked by something that one of us say. I did not see this. I did not hear this. I'm going to have to go back and watch the video and all that. Wow. First of all, this has kind of been his issue this year. He threw a fit after the preseason and said they wouldn't go to whatever Maui whatever island they got to go play basketball on for a week. He refused to go there ever again because they always pick on them or schedule them. He complained about something. I'm going to tell you what my first off the top of the dome thought was as you were telling me that, because I had not heard it. It almost reminded me of when a celebrity gets pulled over and they're like, do you know who I am? I'm so-and-so. You can't arrest me. I'm like, what? Like, so the comment was just, first of all, it's true. You are the best coach in America.
College basketball.
In college. However, that doesn't mean you get to say it. We're allowed to say it. You don't get to say it. That's how this works. Okay. It is until you retire and then you're Shaq and you can say you're the best. Like, no, you don't get to do that. Number one. Number two, L after L after L. You then go into the press conference. That's when you are supposed to then take your time, reset yourself and hit, you know what? I lost control. That is something I should have never said. Instead, we go in there and we're just complaining and just bitching. And I don't know. Like, I like Dan Hurley. I have been on the train. I thought he was great. I knew he was going to be good the minute he was hired because of that fiery attitude. Here's the problem. And this is what all of any great person especially in the sports profession has to deal with. It takes so much sacrifice and grind and intensity to get to the top. When you're there and there's nowhere else to climb up, then what do you do? Because Dan Hurley's hit an issue, and here's the problem. He has reached the pinnacle of his sport, okay? back-to-back national championships, the best recruiting classes, the best program right now in college basketball. He's got nowhere else to climb. He now is at a plateau. So now how do you win? Now how do you keep it together? And clearly this year, he has not been able to keep it together. Now, here's the other thing. If they rally and they win, we're going to look back and go, hey, he was just getting them fired up. He was just keeping his guys going. But if they falter, if they slip up, which is just natural in college basketball because this isn't the women's side where programs can dominate, although that era is on the, if it's not gone, it's on the outs, minus South Carolina. But if they stumble, we're going to look back and go, he lost control. And that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like now that he has nowhere else to climb, he's lost control.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we'll see as the season goes on. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that the attention that he's garnered, I don't think he has realized that is going to stick as long as it's going to now because of, one, how good the team is, but two, of how his attitude is. And I think he wants his cake. What is it? What is the phrase? He wants his cake. He wants to eat it too. And that's just not how that works. You want the attention, but you don't want all of the attention that comes with it. You got to take both, and you got to be able to understand that.
And put the cameras on the other coach is just dumb, and I don't even want to hear that. You talk too much without winning for the cameras to not be on you. So I don't even want to hear that. That's like me saying I don't want to talk about my teams. Then don't do the podcast. Don't talk smack, Dan Hurley, if you don't want the cameras on you. All right, bro. Straub Bro of the week. Let's make it positive. Presented to you by Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Don't ride the wave. Create your own and become a Straub Bro of the week.
Yes. So, not to rain on Ken's parade even more, but my Straub Bro of the week is the University of Ohio State. Now, why is this? Obviously, we talked about it on Tuesday. They won the first ever 12-team college football playoff against Ken's Notre Dame, but that was not all that they did. The next day, the Ohio State cheerleading team took first place in the D1A Spirit Program Game Day Division at the Universal Cheerleaders Association Nationals, and that's their second consecutive title. But that's not all. Their dance team on Sunday won first at the Universal Dance Association Nationals in the jazz category. Ohio State's just on a roll, apparently. So good for them. But yeah, listen, if you are an alumni, you must be having an amazing week, regardless of what sport you watch.
This is no disrespect to any of these ladies, but the fact that you are bringing cheerleading and dance into this feels like just trying to drive home a stake that was already pretty much. Okay.
That's an incredible week. I don't like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much?
Am I wrong?
How much NIL did they spend on their dance team?
Oh Lord, Ken.
All right. Straub Bro of the week. All right, are you good? You done?
I mean, they also beat number 11 Purdue on Tuesday for their basketball team. If you want to,
yeah, Buckeye week here on the Straub Bro Sports Show.
If you want me to keep going, I will keep going, and I will make it more painful for you.
No, I think we're good. And here, this is really funny, actually, because Straub Bros of the week are not planned unless something major happens and we double check that we're not going to duplicate. But these are completely random. So, how funny is this? My Straub Bro of the week. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish women's basketball team who whooped up on SMU 88-64 behind 28 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals from Hannah Hidalgo in her return from the ankle injury. Player of the year. I do not care. Okay, let me put that on the screen first. I do not care. Paige Buckner's great. Juju Watkins, great. Hannah Hidalgo, best player in the country for me, hands down. Irish bias aside, because I also love Juju Watkins at USC.
Hey, listen, if there is one team that you can lean on when times are tough in Notre Dame, it is your women's basketball team.
That and the hockey team.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you start with me. But yes. So there we go. I only got one. It's weird only having one. I don't know what to do.
I love it.
So yes, Straub Bro of the week. Shout out to Austin. Create your own wave apparel. All of these people this week not riding the wave, creating their own and becoming Straub Bro of the week. The whole Ohio State, all of Columbus. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk some Cleveland Cavaliers real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Let's guard the land. Now, Cavaliers struggling. Oh no. Tough loss last night.
Yeah.
Some criticism. I'm gonna give a shout out to my guy Nick because he was the one who posted. Some criticism lobbied towards Darius Garland. Missed some big free throws down the stretch. But I mean, this is gonna happen, guys. It's January. The Cavs are in crisis, Andrew.
One, I love that anytime there's a loss now, we are just like, oh, this team isn't ready for the playoffs and yada, yada, yada. Love it. One, and also two, Garland had 26-5 last night, so before the free throws, so it's not like he was like absolutely sucking it up and then on top of it missed those key free throws at the end. So he was actually playing very good. But if we're like actually talking about it, right? His free throw percentage is 87%, which is his best since 2021. Right. And so those misses yesterday, absolute freak misses that in 9 out of 10 games don't happen. He makes them both most of the time, and we win that game. But think about it as a stepping back. Mitchell continues to kind of struggle. Obviously, he had a good game against Phoenix, but he's kind of struggled these past couple of games. There was honestly some really shady calls near the end, especially just some shoves in the back that weren't called. And this team still, and then obviously the Garland is free throws, and this team still only lost by 1 point. And so I'm not worried. And that's kind of how I want to end this conversation, because I feel like anytime we talk about the Cavs, it's either, man, they're rolling, or, man, is this team really okay?
Donovan Mitchell. Also that, if it wasn't a Franklin, I bet he hits all three. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell continues to struggle in big games.
I wouldn't say this was a big game.
Between that and Darius Garland missing the free throws, I think it's time to put the question on the table. Is it time to blow it up?
I know you're doing this to rile me up, and so I will not answer this question. I will avoid this at all costs.
I'm joking. We're not blowing it up. However, Jimmy Butler is, he's available.
That would be so amazing that in like a year or two, when Jimmy Butler finally requests a trade out of Cleveland and we are screaming to get him out of here because of his attitude, it's going to be so great to look back on this. It's going to be so much fun, because that is all that this would lead to.
I'm just riling you up. Oh, and I agree with this. There's a reason certain guys shoot the technicals. And yes, it's usually your best free throw shooter, although it's a weird thing. It wasn't natural. It wasn't normal. So listen, I don't care.
It's January, guys. Like, we don't have the playoffs till May. Let's relax here.
So Darius Garland, and now it would only have to be like a second round pick. And Isaac Okoro.
All right, let's move on to the NFL playoffs. We have a great matchup coming this weekend.
We do. Now, this is the key, though. We're 3-3 without Mobley.
Listen, Mobley is absolutely key to this.
The key. More than Mitchell, more than Garland, Evan Mobley is going to start to become the engine that makes this thing go.
Yes.
And then the other guys have to fill in and get their buckets. Donovan Mitchell, come on. But he knows it. But yeah, it's January. I can't do this anymore. I can't make up any more fake arguments. Sorry, we're not first take. First take light. And not because we're white. All right. Time for the NFL. Ooh, hold on. Okoro, Merrill, and Niang for Cam Johnson is the latest that I've heard.
Wouldn't be mad at it, because Merrill, I think, has just lost it. I don't think his touches. I think I need to give up on the Merrill experiment a little bit. And I've also just never really liked Niang. I think he's a big defensive liability and is very streaky when it comes to his offense. I would miss Okoro just because I think his defense is fantastic, especially when you get late in the playoffs and you need a guy on that star player, that star guard. Okoro is the guy you kind of throw in there. But, I mean, if Cam Johnson can kind of fill that role, I wouldn't mind. I mean, I don't know. I mean, gives minutes for Bass and Tyson. That doesn't intrigue me because come playoff time, they're not playing, and so it's basically Bates and Tyson for Merrill or Niang, and Niang has playoff experience, and so like if we're talking about it, both those guys, most of those guys aren't playing in the playoffs anyways, and so I get wanting to like build up guys, but like that's not what we're aiming at right now. We're aiming at a playoff run, not getting rookies minutes.
I'm gonna defer in the Nick on this one.
I get it. All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with it. His comment's gonna come in late, so it's gonna throw us off again. But all right, it's time to preview the NFL conference. You see, I like our depth and limited minutes. I knew something was coming in there. That's why I held off for a second. I agree. We will continue this more. We'll have a full Cavalier show once we get past the Super Bowl. I'm gonna make Nick break his streak here of not wanting to come on the show. I'm going to make him come on and be a guest and talk Cavaliers with us. But it's time for the conference championships. It is time for the road to the Super Bowl. We have the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's start in the NFC. Drew, I've got some keys to the game and I need answers. Can the Eagles run the ball when everybody in the world knows that that's all they have got? And can Jaden Daniels continue not just a hot playoff run of great play, but continue to be Washington's entire offense as he accounted for 350 total yards of offense against the Lions?
So the first answer, I think, is an obvious yes, because we've known for the past, 8-9 weeks that Saquon was the entire offense, and they still can't stop Saquon Barkley. And so I think that's the real, that's the easy answer there. But if we're talking about Jane Daniels, and so this is, I think, the really interesting conversation here, because obviously, we're going up against an Eagles defense that is probably second in the league behind the Chargers in terms of defense. Maybe between the Broncos and the Chiefs and all that. They're top 5 at the very least, or however you want to rank them. But we said this in the first round where we're like, is Jaden Daniels good enough to kind of lead this team? And they beat Tampa Bay. And they took care of business in Tampa Bay. And then we went, but now it's the number 1 seed. It's this amazing just machine that is the Lions that gets it done no matter what. And even with the injuries, we don't. And then Jane Daniels did it again and just continued to score. And so, yes, I think this is probably the best defense in the playoffs that he's faced. They've also split the series in the regular season against them, where they won 1 and lost 1. And so it's not like Jane Daniels, he's either 1, never played this team before, or 2, was 0-2 in the season. And so we'll get to that in a minute. And so what I feel like is my brain is immediately Philadelphia Eagles, because they are the better team. No one has been able to stop the run, and their defense is amazing and can shut down teams in a quarter at any given moment. But there's something about Jaden Daniels that makes me want to believe that he can get it done when it counts. And I feel like you don't have a gap in head coaching like you did when Eagles played the Packers, where the Packers really haven't been to that level before. And so you aren't sure kind of what you're going to get. Dan Quinn's been to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he lost it, and there was obviously this big, fall off, in the game. But Dan Quinn's been there before. He knows what it takes to get to a Super Bowl. And so I'm not sure that my brain or that my heart believes what my brain believes. And I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think, or at least that my brain thinks.
So first of all, I agree with Nick Commanders Bills gets way more views because Eagles Chiefs becomes more than I don't want to put a number on it, but there's going to be people who go, oh, I don't want to see Mahomes. So I think
It was
it's
Golden
honestly,
State and the Cavs for like the third time in a row.
I think it's honestly anyone versus the Chiefs or anyone other than the Chiefs. But and then obviously I want to give another shout out here because Daniel came in late. Straub Bruh Sports Show, Cuyahoga Falls Rapids broadcast in the UK and Ireland. So yeah, we are international now. Jaden Daniels is my Lord and Savior. Yes, this is the big thing here. Hurts is hurt as of now. Game plan for lots of Barkley. The health is a key thing. I mean, the guy's been banged up for weeks now. They held him out week 16. He was, or I think week 15 as well, or 16, 17, something along that lines. So he's missed more time here recently than he's actually played. So that is big. The shoulder is banged up as well.
Yeah, but he was hurt. He was hurt and had the concussion going into the Green Bay game. He was still hurt going into the LA game. One, he's gonna play, and two, they're gonna run the same offense because it's not like this offense is designed on like a Josh Allen offense where if he's not healthy, they have to change the thing up. They're gonna run the same stuff as they did before because that's what they do.
Right, but we do now know that this Washington team is gonna hit you. I did say this on Tuesday, so I'm going to repeat myself a bit here. I'll try not to do that next week. I used the wrong notes. We've talked about Jalen Hurts' record in the playoffs when he throws for under 200 yards. And what it comes down to is, are those 130 and 140 yards the important ones? Because when they are, that is the formula for Saquon to open up holes, to make big runs, for the explosive plays, and the Eagles win. If you force Jalen Hurts to have to make plays and to have to throw, that is how you get the Eagles out of their comfort zone. You get them out of their game plan, and that's how Washington does this. They did it last week. They found Detroit's kryptonite. Get a lead and force Jared Goff to throw. Now they know what they have to do against Philly. We have got to do almost the same thing. We've got to force Philly to throw. And that doesn't always mean a lead with Philly. Staying toe-to-toe with Philly will force Jalen Hurts to make some throws.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll come down to two things. Can the Washington defense contain Barkley enough where they feel like they have to throw?
This is a key
and
point. This is the best defense Philly has played.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I also believe that Saquon kind of not neutralizes it, but kind of makes that point a little more moot just because, listen, it's a Lamar Jackson thing. No matter what defense he goes up against, he's going to get his whatever yards, you know? But I think the second point is, what can Jaden Daniels do against this type of a defense? Because obviously he's done it before, but this is, listen, big stage. You're in Philly. You lost in Philly when you played in Philly in the regular season.
Tampa Bay and LA, as good as they are, they're not Philly.
And what have you learned? What have you learned from playing Philly twice?
And what has Philly learned from you? And I think that is almost the bigger key because he's a rookie. The whole thing with rookies is the whole reason the sophomore slump is a thing is because I now have a year of tape on you. Nothing that you're going to do now is new. We have got to see how you would progress. That's even harder within the division because these guys have already seen you twice. Now here's the third time. So what can the Eagles see and throw at Jaden Daniels to throw him off? And then what does Jaden Daniels do? Because if Philly doesn't change, it's going to be a 40. They're going to put 40 points on the Eagles too. Now you make the adjustment, that changes. Then what happens? And they've got to unleash Jalen Carter. He cannot be held in containment for 3.5 quarters until he shows up at that last drive against the Rams. He has got to be unleashed early and often.
All right.
Let's get to the heavyweight matchup. The one we're all here to see. The Bills and the Chiefs. The ride for the three-peat rides on beating the team that has spent 3 years building a team to beat you. Okay, I don't care who I'm gonna like completely throw off. If this ain't Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, baby, I don't know what is. Okay, it's a little bit of Dusty Rhodes, baby. All right, this has been building and building and building. This is Cody Rhodes. It is time to finish the story, Buffalo. Okay, so my question for you: who comes out on top? The man who has still yet to be dethroned, or the prince awaiting to take over for what he feels as his rightful kingdom of the AFC?
Dude, I don't know. I think that's the issue. Is that
and hold on one second. I will answer Nick's question when we are done. I will loop back and answer this question.
I think the issue is that you have the Bills running on pure spite, trying to beat the Bills. And that could be good for them because that could get them even more motivated. But that could also be detrimental to them where they overplay, they over pursue because they're trying to make the big hit. They're trying to make the tackle for loss. And maybe a trick play comes in, or maybe a well-timed juke makes a big play, or maybe they over pursue and they throw it over the top. And I feel like that's also been the Bills' problem for a little bit, where you're on the cusp. You're on the cusp of beating them, and you try to put the game away, and you overcommit, and you get a little bit too aggressive, and the Chiefs remain calm, and they find a way to beat you. And so if you're the Bills, I get it. This has got to be the game that you are going to get the most up for in your entire life. But you got to stay calm, cool, and collected, because if you don't, they are going to take advantage of that.
Now, we would not be the Straub Bro Sports Show if I all of a sudden pivoted and went a different way that I've been saying every week. So we're not going to do that. I've said multiple times, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Enough wrestling cliches. Until somebody steps out on that field and the clock hits 0 in the fourth quarter and they have the lead against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, I'm not picking against the Chiefs because it hasn't happened in 3 years or whatever, however the span is. It hasn't happened, okay? Since a dude named Tom Brady was around and since a dude named Joe Burrow had a defense, okay? Kind of. Everyone was healthy on offense. How's that?
That's probably the more likely reason.
We haven't seen it. So it's hard for me to sit here and say, oh, the Bills going to do this, and to win. However, as somebody who just got done riding the wave to a national championship game, you need little things throughout your season that just kind of happen and just kind of go your way. All the criticism we gave last week to Baltimore about the fumble from Mark Andrews dropping the ball. As much as those highlights are all being deleted out of the Ravens season highlights, that becomes a focal point if Buffalo gets this done this week. They look back and go, oh no, that drop ball, that was our luck. That was our bounce that went our way. So if there was ever a time to do it, if there was ever a year to do it, it has to be this year. This thing is going to start to fall apart money-wise. It's already started to, but it's going to get even worse here in a year or two. Thankfully, they don't have star wide receivers that they're paying a boatload of money to anymore, but you've got to get this done. So the key is not just everyone staying calm. Josh Allen has got to believe in everyone else around him. He cannot this cannot be, I mean, it could be a 3 touchdown or 4 touchdown because he ran into, but he has got to believe in his running game. He's got to believe in his wide receivers like he has all year. And he cannot turn this into him versus Patrick Mahomes, because then you play right into the Chiefs game and Patrick Mahomes is going to beat you at that every time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Do not try to play hero ball, because that's how Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have lost every year except for this year, where Lamar tried to play hero ball and he played right into the defense's hands. You have to just trust your teammates. And I'm sure that is the message going into this week is, look how good our running game is. Look how good our defense is. Look how good our receivers are. Look how good our quarterback is. Everyone trust each other and we can do this.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Bills, Chiefs, give me a prediction.
Okay. I believe
Or
that
what will happen that will lead to each team. No, I'm not letting you out of this. Give me a prediction.
no. I believe the Chiefs will have the ball with minimal time left with a chance to win the game. But I believe that the Buffalo defense will stand tall, and I think they'll get it done.
Wow, he's taking the Bills. All right. I'm going to back end my prediction because that's how it works when I ask the questions. This kind of reminds me of the Ohio State-Texas game. If it's a close game, I think it's the Chiefs. I just don't see Mahomes getting beat in the clutch. However, if Buffalo can get a lead, I think they can start to run, and I think they can start to pull away, and I think that's how they clip up the Chiefs. I don't think in a close game, I don't think it goes well for the Bills. I think it turns into 4 Super Bowl losses. Now 4 straight losses to the Chiefs in the playoffs. I just think all of that bad juju and momentum starts to build. So I think the Bills need to go in there and take care of this if they're going to win this thing. So that's on the AFC. Sean's got the Chiefs. Chiefs and Eagles. So let's jump over to the NFC side. Commanders and Eagles. Give me a prediction.
So if you guys can recall, last Thursday I made the joke of Jaden Daniels going to basically being the Jimmy Butler meme, and obviously he proved me wrong. However, to try to ensure that I was not fully wrong, I will say that happens this week instead. I think the Phillies outlast the Commanders, and I think that a crucial turnover at the end of the game seals the deal.
All right. I like that. So I'll throw that question up. How does the Cowboys community feel about this matchup? The future looks tough. The Eagles and Washington Commanders. Just when my week couldn't get worse. However, Notre Dame will be back. Like we'll be okay. Like we're gonna 18 players with significant minutes coming back on this team next year. I'm okay here. It's looking rough, man. Okay, it's looking rough. Oh, and yes, here I'm gonna get nice quarter zip from our man Nick on that one. And as you see, Nick, I'm also rocking the jersey as well. That is the owner of Akron City FC, our guy. But this is tough as a Cowboys fan because the only thing I have to look at is hope the Giants screw up the draft again. Because if they don't, then we're really in trouble. The problem is I don't believe in this Eagles run because eventually Saquon Barkley will get injured again, or Jalen Hurts will regress to what he is, which is just an average quarterback. I like Jaden Daniels, so this Washington thing is scary because this looks like I'm dealing with Patrick Mahomes NFC over here. So we will see that. What's going on? How we doing? I'm not sure what Bobby meant.
I think that's an emoji that didn't get through, and so it's describing it.
100%. Number one. That's what we are. So yeah, this sucks as a Cowboys fan to watch in the NFC. My prediction, something's got to give. There's got to be a weird team somewhere. I think Washington has the tools to upset and struggle or make Philly struggle. But for the same reason that I would think that the Chiefs, you got to beat the Chiefs. You got to beat these Eagles at home in the snow. That's going to be tough. So I'm going to take the Eagles on this side.
All right. So same on the NFC, different on the AFC. Let's see how that turns out.
Make me pick between those two teams. All right. Enough. All right. So that'll do it for your NFL conference championship games. Strabo, it's time to finish up and wrap this thing up with some footy. It's time for your EPL preview. And Drew, who am I going to lose to this week?
Fulham. It was actually a pretty decent team. Honestly, I think you'll match up well. You beat them in the home stretch, and so we will see during the away fixture what you do there. But enough about your middling team. We have
for the record, nice weather in a Philly Sunday. So
nice weather is still 30 degrees. So
right, but that helps Washington.
However, we have a better game to talk about, and I'm not just being biased. It's my game. Chelsea traveled to Manchester City in a surprising 4 versus 6 matchup, which I think will be a very good game. I may be out and about watching that game with some friends, so we will see. As you can see, Sean is very ready. Because
would that be our resident Manchester City fan?
Okay, we are both thinking at the same time. There we go. Sean is very ready. I don't think he doesn't know that we're going out, but if Sean wants to come out to Old Angle Tavern at 12:30 on Saturday, he is more than willing.
Sorry, Sean. I just kind of assumed. My bad.
But I think that'll be a good game. And I think it'll be a good testament to see kind of where these teams are at in terms of, because I don't think really any of us have played any big teams in the past couple weeks, and so it'll be a good kind of a good measuring stick to kind of see where this team has progressed at.
First of all, yes, that will be a good one. So I will say this. Here's my opinion. This is a bigger game for City, a better result if you get the 3 points. So City needs the win, but you benefit from the 3 points more. I know I kind of sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my face here. Let me explain. Manchester City loses this game, and it isn't just, oh, we've had some bad results, blah, blah. It is full-on panic mode. It is red alarms, because we are now starting to see that when Pep Guardiola doesn't have the checkbook just absolutely splashing with the biggest talent around the world, tactically and coaching-wise, he is not as great as when he has all of those players. However, let me just throw this up there. In terms of actually fighting for the title, I think you have a better chance than Manchester City. Therefore, the 3 points would benefit you more, because I don't think a loss is, oh my goodness, Chelsea's in crisis, the season is over. It's, we lost to Manchester City, and that happens. A Manchester City loss puts Sean in absolute panic mode, because regardless of where I am in the table, Manchester is red.
That is very true. Also, we have a Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth matchup, 2 teams that have completely blown away expectations. Obviously, we've talked at length about Nottingham Forest and how amazing they've been, but Bournemouth being 7th and a point out of a, honestly, Europa League spot is absolutely fantastic for them. This is a team that I think got some new ownership and some new mentality and management, and has really put together a really strong and smart squad with their spending. And so I think this will be a good matchup to kind of see, obviously, how Nottingham Forest can continue maybe this good run, but how good Bournemouth can be against a team that's basically having a very similar season to them, just a little better.
Nottingham Forest has Chelsea right underneath them, but on their heels, they have Newcastle, Manchester City, Bournemouth, and Aston Villa. Okay. I'll even throw Brighton in there. Okay. Can Nottingham Forest hang on? Do they have the squad? You think so?
I really think so. Obviously, we've talked about, smart spending with Bournemouth. This has just happened this year. Nottingham has had very, very under the radar signings for the past 2 or 3 years.
And a team that we've been, not just we, everyone has been critical of for two seasons past, because it felt like they were just spending money to spend it and just buying players to buy, and the squad didn't fit. And now we're looking back and going, okay, wait a minute. Maybe they knew they would struggle, but this is where we were trying to get to.
And the thing is the way that they've been doing it now is that when you immediately come up from the Premier League, from the Championship into the Premier League, the old school mentality was buy veterans, buy the old guys that know how to get it done, and try to hang on for a year or two so you can get that Premier League money. Now, that's not the way they do it. They try to hold on to guys. They try to get guys that are upstarts in the Championship. They try to build teams, which is
You buy
honestly,
players on the outskirts of bigger clubs. Anthony Olenga at Manchester United.
yes. Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea that is
Yeah.
now in this Nottingham Forest team. They are smartly buying players, and when they sell these big players, aka from Bournemouth, he went to Tottenham. I am blanking on his name. Solanke.
Yeah, Solanke.
Solanke, they spend the money well, and they are using this money to good use. And so I think this is why you are seeing this. I also think that's a very fair take. Just because, one, when it gets down to the nitty gritty of seasons, Nottingham is in no man's land because they've never been there before. However, this is also a team in Newcastle that has been very shaky this entire season. And so when it comes down to it, I don't know if they can get the results. Because at one point they were in 11th.
Yeah.
And so, and then in a team in City that I know it looks like they're on their way back, but some bad results go their way. That is still a 6-point gap that they have to cover, and it's very tough, even now, to make up a 6-point gap in terms of this. So we'll see.
My opinion would hinder on my question to Sean would be, how healthy are you going to be down the final stretch? Because if you're healthy, I'm going to put my money on Manchester City. Been there, done that. Maybe not winning the title, but we're going to
read this book before. Yeah.
We're going to put our foot in the Champions League and get it done. If they're not healthy, I think Nottingham Forest could hang on. I think in terms of consistent play, they would be the most likely to stay in over even Arsenal and Chelsea, just because of how they've played. They've been the most consistent out of all of those teams. But yes, when it comes down to it, when points are on the line, I'm going to back a Chelsea. I'm going to back a Manchester City. I'm going to back an Arsenal to get the points needed to get in the Champions League. Well, Arsenal, Champions League specialist. Champions League qualifying specialist. Not winning anything, but all right. So I got a bone to pick. Okay. And here's my bone to pick. I no longer have a choice as a modern day Premier League fan to talk about the big clubs in England and leave Spurs out, leave Tottenham out. I'm not allowed. I have to talk about Tottenham, even though they ain't won a damn thing. Okay. I'm not allowed to leave them out when we talk about the big clubs in England, correct?
Yeah, I would say so.
So where in the hell is all of the Tottenham is in crisis? Tottenham is awful. Tottenham might be relegated. The only team that's worth a damn below me in the Premier League is Tottenham. But I'm not hearing any of the stuff that I'm hearing about Manchester United. Now, I know I'm different, okay? I know I'm different, but I'm not allowed to ignore Spurs. I'm not allowed to pretend like they're a small club like they are. So if I can't pretend that they're a small club, you need to eat some of this.
So this reminds me of our Tuesday conversation with Daniel screaming from the rooftops why Harbaugh and Lamar aren't on the hot seat every year and Pittsburgh are. Because you got more history. You're overall better than them, Ken. You have how many Premier League titles compared to Tottenham? Listen, and also, I also want to point this out. I know Tottenham is below you. They have a plus 10 point differential, and they're hurt. And so, and yeah, you don't want to know what yours is.
It's
and
negative,
so,
right?
Yes. And so when we're talking about like the differences here, one, you're just overall better than them in history and in importance and all that. And two, they do not as bad as they should be, but they do have somewhat of a reason to be as bad as they are.
Then I'm done. They're not a big club. No one will talk to me about Tottenham being a big club if they're not going to.
I mean, I never call them a big club. That's because I hate them.
And I actually like their manager. I like Postecoglou. I really do.
London is blue.
Okay. Because anyone cares about that.
Never be white, never be red.
Anyone who doesn't follow the Premier League is just going to like be.
You just said Manchester is red like 5 minutes ago. I don't want to hear it.
That's very true. All right, I'm done. I'm done talking about team. That's why I got my Accra City FC shirt on today. Okay, my jersey on. Okay, I needed a team that was going to bring me up today after the week I had. Let me check my last comment here. Whoa. I don't know what the whoa is. Oh, that might be at you because he's a West Ham guy. London is multicolored.
Oh, congratulations.
He has to talk about London because he can't talk about Manchester. But all right, we got one more. It's time to bring it home. It was going to be Tuesday, but we decided to push it to Thursday, and that is, and I cannot wait when we have our international viewers start to tip in when we do this footy segment. Well, they're gonna kill us when we do the footy segment.
Oh,
but
for sure.
The longest reigning and best American segment in soccer. It is time for an extended version of Americans Abroad.
All right, we're going to make this quick on the anthem because we really don't have a lot in terms of goals, but we did have some fun stuff this week. Paxton Aronson had an assist, his fourth, and a 2-1 win over Utrecht. Absolutely killing it for the youngster. That's why I tell everyone. That's why I say everyone needs to go to the Netherlands. I think it's fantastic for them.
Italy.
Tyler Adams gets his first assist in a 4-0 win over Newcastle. As soon as he was done with his injury, absolutely fantastic in terms of defensive play, and now attributing the attacking side. This is the one we need coming into the later kind of stages, and when Poch actually gets his hands on him.
And the results are there for the team as well.
Yes. And then finally, Tim Weah gets his 5th goal and his 10th goal contribution in a 2-0 win for Juventus. This is his first time having a 10-goal contribution season. So absolutely congratulations to him and McKennie. Juventus is killing it. But obviously we had some results in Europe, but the thing we were paying attention to the most is our national team Camp Cupcake games this week.
Yes. Well done. Way to try to drag it out there to help finish the music.
Yeah, 3 players. I tried my best there.
It's all good. So I watched both games. Yes, I did. There were some standout performances, and there was also some guys who just completely crossed themselves off the list. I'm not going to dive too far into the guys who crossed themselves off the list.
You sure?
No, Straub can.
There may be a certain slide coming afterwards that makes you.
Oh, that's fine. I like it. But some standout performances. Here's what I will say, man. Our kids can shoot. Some great goals that were played in. Diego Luna with an absolute warrior performance in the 3-0 win, broke his nose, continued to play, set up the goal, was just great great moving forward, was finding good pockets of space, trying to play guys in. The criticism I have for both of these games is, the problem is you have a lot of young guys who, for the most part, have always been stronger and faster than everyone. Well, everyone is strong at this level and everyone is fast at this level. So all of the one touch and the too quick of a play constantly resulted in lost possession, even though we would gain it back and we had majority of the possession. There was too much wasted possession in front of goal in both games, regardless of the 3 goals. They were supposed to win. But yeah, the loss of possession by doing almost too much and too basic of moves was the thing that I was kind of most unimpressed with, and I was disappointed the most in the lack of standout from our defenders. Nobody stood out other than Tim Ream. Actually, I'll give Shaq Moore some love. Shaq Moore came in the last quarter hour of the second game, and I thought brought a different quality, a guy who you could tell had played with other guys on the national team and had more experience. But Tim Ream can't be the standout on defense.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I will say Max Arston, the left back playing the first game for Columbus, had a good half. I won't say anything standoutish, but I think he definitely deserves kind of some props, and hopefully he gets kind of more playing time, this young left back out of Columbus. But I think I agree. I think that, unfortunately, now we've come to a point where we're not seeing our young guys grow up in America and then move overseas. They're getting sold to Europe at 19, 20, 21 years old, so they're not going to be able to come to this camp with, a Paxton Aronson, a Taylor Booth, where normally, 10 years ago, they're playing for New England or they're playing for Chicago, and you're like, oh, okay, this has potential. And then when they're 24, 25, they move over. They're starting there younger and younger. And so now I think the issue. But I don't want to, I don't want to kind of have some negatives here because we had a lot of good performances. And unless you want to talk some more, I can bring that up.
The last negative I want to say, and I don't think it's too much of a negative. What I did see and what I should have said on the front end of what I said the last point, there was guys trying to play like the first team. They were trying to play Punch's style, but unfortunately, their skill set couldn't replicate that. And that's where some of those bad touches and one-touch passes that were just mishit, that's where that came in. But let's get to the positive.
And I will say, though, this was the first time that I've seen a team like this where it's very underwhelming and there's not a lot of, talents in terms of heightened talent on the pitch, where I really also wasn't nervous when a team came down. And I think that's great credit to Poch, where he's playing a system with these guys where, yes, they're aggressive and yes, they're getting out there, but they're also very, very disciplined and very, very aggressive defensively as well.
And they're protected.
Yes.
So, all right, go ahead. Get to
obviously, I had some time, and so I wanted to show, I think, at least some stock ups and stock downs from this camp. Now, this doesn't mean stock up means that they should be in the next squad, and stock down means they should never come back. These were just kind of my interpretations. I think my top two are Tim Ream and Diego Luna. I think Diego Luna was by far the guy who rose his stock the most.
I think he counters what you said, though. I think Diego Luna absolutely earned. I apologize. Diego Luna absolutely earned himself a call up.
I think I agree as well. But I think he's the only one on this list other than Tim Ream. But Tim Ream has always
hey in the house.
Has always been the one kind of Tim Ream has always kind of been a fixture there. But also, like I said, Max Arfson put in a good shift. Jack McGlynn, I don't think is right there yet. I think he really needs to move to Europe somewhere to really cement kind of hhis skills. But I think he played fantastic.
Let's talk about Patrick. Let's talk about Patrick.
Patrick Abiang. I'm going to hold on. Patrick Abiang and Matzo Miljevich had an amazing kind of rapport in the first game, and then Abiang also had just an amazing kind of sub appearance. And then Amika Anelli
and a great goal.
Yes, and Amika Anelli, I think, not an amazing performance, but a solid midfield performance. Where I believe while Kramashi was really kind of the workhorse running around everywhere, Ameka, and I don't believe that he's really ready for the first team in terms of kind of skill. I think Ameka Anelli was really calm and composed in a lot of that, which shows a lot of potential. Once he kind of gets his pace and speed of kind of processing information kind of up a little bit once he gets into more and more playing time.
These guys, 2025 or the end of 2025, I think these are two names where we can start to look for. I don't hate to end on a bad note, but I'm going to, because I had this thought when I watched the game, when I watched both games. What has happened to Miles Robinson? 2 years ago, before the World Cup, before he got hurt, when him and Walker Zimmerman were giving up 0 goals in qualifying through 8 games, I had said to you, my dream, and we didn't even know we were going to be playing a back three, but I said, oh man, with the way we have Mark McKenzie, who's young, with the way we have Chris Richards, who's young, the way we have Miles Robinson, who's young, we could run a 3-back system some point around 24, 25, 26 with the way these guys develop. Then Miles Robinson got hurt, and he has just not been the same player.
And I think that's a very big point. Is he had this massive injury after being super hot. He was 24 at the time. He's 27 now. Obviously, that's not old for a defender or a soccer player, but it still means something. And also, I think that, listen, you play in a league for so long, like he did in the MLS, because he's played for what, like,
his career.
It's got to be 7-8 years. You get used to a certain tempo. You get used to a certain pace of play. And if you try to play a little faster, especially how Poch had him playing on the right, which I don't know if that was a great idea, but it is what it is. You lose a step, you lose a touch, you lose your aggressiveness, you lose your hunger when you play at kind of a little lower of a league. And so I think that's the massive issue there is Miles, while a great player and very physical, and if we need a third defender to kind of come on and seal the game out, could definitely be a guy to come in like that. I don't believe he is a guy that is as promising as he was 3 years ago.
To his credit, he's still battling. And to Ponch's credit, he continues to give him every opportunity. He shouldn't be called up to these cups. I know he's in the MLS, but he shouldn't. Him and Reem should have been kind of offsetting, hey, we're going to start one of you one game and the other game, so that we've got a top defender in at all times. But that's just not what it is. So hopefully, listen, we didn't know Tim Ream's name until he came on late. So there's still time for Miles Robinson. But, I mean, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie have all kind
Boston Trusty, all those guys.
The guys have all kind of cemented themselves. But we've also seen like a guy like John Brooks where once it goes, sometimes you can't get it back. But we shall see. All right, so that'll do it for Americans abroad. That'll do it for our United States men's national team, and that'll do it for us here on the Straub Bro Sports Show. I want to thank everybody for rocking with us today. I want to thank all of you for joining us on the Straub Bro Sports Show YouTube page and my Facebook page. If anybody joined us there, you can find the Straub Bro Sports Show on X at Straub Bro Sports, on TikTok at DSBSS, on Instagram at Straub Bro Sports Show, and on Spotify, the Straub Bro Sports Show. Big shout out to the Rapids. Daniel rocking with us. Some of the players rocking with us in today. Bobby, all the guys. Make sure you follow the Falls Rapids on Facebook, the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids, on Instagram, Official Rapids, and get your Rapids and Ollie gear at fallsrapids.myshopify.com. And
I'm looking at that Ollie gear right now.
Dude, it's great stuff. I cannot wait to get
It's so good.
Or get some stuff for yourself, but it's great stuff for the kids too. Excuse me. Thank you, Mama. But as we are the official broadcast team of the Falls Rapids, a big shout out to Sport Tank Gridiron, as now the Straub Bro Sports Show broadcast of the Falls Rapids game has gone international. We have teamed up with them, and they are going to share our broadcast, all 12 games, to their viewers in the UK and Ireland. We're coming home. The UK, Ireland, we cannot wait to be a part of. This is so amazing. We cannot wait to have our voices be heard all over, not just the country, but all over the world. Make sure you get on Facebook and follow Sport Take Gridiron. They do some great stuff. They highlight American football overseas. So big shout out to them as we cover the footy over here in America. We'll be bringing our football to them over in the UK and Ireland. So big things for the Rapids as we hashtag spread the wave. Make sure while you're rolling around all our social media, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube, you check out my interview sessions with the Falls Rapids. And there's a preview of your Ollie the Otter gear, by the way. Make sure you check those out. Media Day is quickly coming upon us. February 7th, we'll be collecting a bunch of interviews with the guys and the coaching staff and some media staff. And me and Straub will be sitting down as Daniel, the owner of the Falls Rapids, is going to interview us. So I cannot wait for that. I'm super excited for that. Shout out to all of our guys and gals at the Falls Rapids. And our guy Austin at Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you follow them on Instagram, Create Your Own Wave 2021. And get your gear at cyowapparel.myshopify.com. Create your own wave. And Schmoopy Sweets and Treats, get on Facebook, follow them, and get in those DMs and get your orders in. What are you ordering? You're ordering from the Valentine's Day menu so you don't get ghosted and left on read. Your cookies, your cheesecakes, and your cupcakes. And then when Valentine's Day is over, you come on back, you get you some bread, bagels, croissant, cheesecakes, donuts, muffins, Danishes, and the cannoli. All right. So make sure you get your orders in on Facebook. Free delivery in the local area. Get those Valentine's Day orders in ASAP. Shout out to everybody. Strabo, wrap it up.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for listening, commenting, just whatever you do to support the show. We really appreciate it. And honestly, that's all I got. No quick quirks, no nothing. Just, hey, have a good weekend, everybody.
Take your Saturday and take the family out since all the football is on Sunday and we finally got a weekend to breathe and not have some football. Take a breath there. Get out on Saturday. I got a coach.
And it's 33 degrees, so it's probably the warmest it'll be all weekend.
I got to coach. I got to try to be at a birthday party. I have to try to be at something. I have to be at a meeting. I have a lot of things to do this weekend. So Sunday for football, Saturday for everything else. Thank you, everybody. My commenters, we appreciate you. My sharers, Daniel, moms and dads, and everybody else who shares, but especially big ups to Daniel, who gets us across every platform in the absolute world. We appreciate all of you, however you digest it, whether it's live or you're running it back. Big Oos Josh is running it back with the baby. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody. Make sure you always love yours.